Welcome to the Parafair today. And today's topic is your talent only matters if you're somewhere it can be used. And as we talk about the story, we jump into the story. It's a very interesting story, and we're having this discussion today. And it's just something that we all deal with, and we use our talents. Some of us use a lot of it, and some of us don't. So here's our story as we get started. One day, a mother and a baby camel were lying under a tree. Then the baby camel asked, "Why do camels have humps?" The mother camel considered this and said, "We are desert animals, so we have these humps to store water so we can survive with very little water." The baby camel thought for a moment, then said, "Okay, why are our legs long and our feet round?" The mama replied, "They're meant for walking in the desert." The baby paused. After a beat, the camel asked, "Why are our eyelashes so long? Sometimes they get in the way." The mama responded, "Those thick, long eyelashes protect your eyes from the desert sand when it blows in the wind." The baby thought, then he said, "I see. So the hump is to store water when we're in the desert. The legs are for walking through the desert, and these eyelashes protected my eyes from the desert. Then why are we in a zoo?" Wow. How many times have we ever thought, and most of us, as we go through our day and as we go through our job, have been sitting there and wondering, is our talent really being utilized? Is our talent being really utilized at this job? Because a lot of times we get jobs and we look at them as stepping stones. And then sometimes we're on step number 2, but we don't seem to figure out how to get to step number 3. Or some of us are on step number 1, and what happens is we get comfortable at step 1, and we never utilize our talents. And I see this with myself. I see this with the people around you, and I'm amazed how other people can tell other people what to do with their talent, but they're not doing anything with their talents. I have so many people around me that are so gifted and so talented, and I can tell them do this and do that. And I'm telling myself, why are you telling them what to do? You need to tell yourself what. So I'm a little confused about that, how people can tell you what to do with talent, but they have a lot of talent in them, but they can't seem to do it themselves. And it's easy to tell somebody what to do, but it's hard to do it when you have to do it. And lately, as I've been doing the podcast and I've been thinking about the podcast, the talents that I'm putting in the podcast, and I heard, I was talking to my wife, and she goes, "Wow, the podcasts are getting better and better and better. I didn't know you had that kind of talent in you." And I told her, I said, I didn't know either. But I kept practicing. Keep practicing. I keep doing things over and over again. And you find a way to make it better because you have that, you want to do better. You want to do better than what you're doing. And that's the trick about anything. If you want to do something, you got to put the time into it. And the talent's going to be there. It's going to come out. But you got to be willing to put the time in. And a lot of times we get discouraged by the first couple of times that we try something, and then we give up. But the talent is still there. But we're so enamored about, we're looking at the failure, not the failure of falling. And the thing about failure, it's how you fall. If you fall backwards when you fail, but if you fall forward, you just went the right direction. You went the right direction. But a lot of times as we're doing things, we're scared to fail. We're scared to think about what people are going to say about the talents that we're going to use. We're scared to take that next step up the stairs because we're scared. And everyone gets scared. It's okay to get scared. What I agree about with this story that we just read is they're sitting there in the zoo and their baby is telling the mom, "Why are we wasting our life here? Why are we wasting our life just sitting here doing nothing? We're built for the desert. We're built for more than this. How do we end up here? How do we get out of here? How do we show people how awesome we are?" And that's the thing about what we're dealing with is we have to show people how great we are, how awesome we are. And the thing is, we have to get past the point where we're worried about what other people were saying about it. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they're concerned about their hair, their looks. If they change their hair, they think people won't like them the same. And I told them, I said, they're not true friends. Don't, if you're doing something, and the thing is, the person has to get a haircut to get into the military. And he's thinking that if I get my hair cut, the girls won't like me. The girls won't like me at all. So I've been getting all this attention. I let my hair grow out. And if I cut my hair, the girls aren't going to like me. And so we do things for other people. We don't do things for ourselves. We don't do things for, number one is ourselves. And so as I listen to this person, their motivation is other people. And I was listening to someone in other day, and somebody sent something across to me on Instagram, and they were just saying how when you have your hopes and dreams, you don't need to tell people about your hopes and dreams. You just go, do the best you can, be quiet about it, and you just keep at it. You don't need to tell everybody that you're going to record a record. You don't need to tell everyone that you have a podcast. That's just the best podcast out there. You don't need to tell everybody you have an awesome job. The key thing is just do it. Just do it over and over again until you say, okay, this is enough. But a lot of times we still don't want to do it because we're afraid that we may fail, that we question our talent. I have that problem with a lot of things that I do is I question my talent sometimes. It's there, but am I really using it to my full capabilities? I don't think so. I hate for me at the end of my life or whatever to look back and someone says, okay, you did this, you did that, you did this, you did that. You only did about 25% of what we actually gave you to do. You never got even close to 100% of what you're capable of doing because you didn't want to take that extra step. You didn't want to do this and you didn't want to do that because you want to play the safe way. And it's okay. Sometimes I understand you want to be conservative about things. You want to be safe. You don't really want to stretch yourself a little bit because it's embarrassing to fail. And one of the sports that I like watching a lot is baseball. And in one of the situations they have is sometimes the hitter will get a walk, 4 balls, or they'll get a base hit and they have to stand on first base, but they get to lead off the base a little bit. And I like watching that when I go to the ball game because you kind of can tell about the person's personality. The guys who are really fast, who know they can get back to the base when the pitcher throws the ball up to the first base, they're just playing with the pitcher, just playing with them. But then you got the guys who aren't as fast, but they still take a little bit off there, and they still take a little bit off there. And what's interesting about that when you're watching baseball, the guys that you don't think are fast, they will surprise you. Because what happens is the pitcher, he's like, this guy, he's not that fast, so he's not going to lead off that far. But he sneaks up on people. And before you know it, he's at second base. And you're like, wow, how did that happen? It's because he used his talent, he used his smartness to get ahead. And a lot of us, we have all this gifts and talent around us, but we don't seem to recognize what's important to us. We're waiting for someone to tell us, like we said earlier. Stop waiting for people to tell you how much talent you have. If someone's telling you how much talent you have, it's great, but you already know what you can do well and what you can't do well. And I would be honest with you, I would focus on the things that you can't do well. Get out that comfort zone. Get out that comfort zone of the things that you always do well. This week, today, tonight, stretch yourself. Think about some things that, I always tell people to do this. Make a chart On the left side, write all the great things that you can do on the positive side. On the negative side, think of all the things that you really don't like doing. You don't like doing, but you wish you could get better at doing. And then what you do is you take this. I saw this little, it's called a RX, a doctor's prescription. What are you going to do to change so that you can get better? Because it's all about getting better and changing and adapting. Because I hate for all those things that you don't think you can do well, that you can't, that you never try to get better. This weekend, or this week, my son, he's into Legos. He's really, we went down to Legoland and, shout out to them. They did a wonderful job, wonderful park down by San Diego. And my wife and I, we're just amazed how creative they are there with the Legos. We are just amazed how the things that they build with the Legos. So as we went to the park and we spent time there, spent, a lot of time at the park, the last thing we went to the store because we wanted to buy him some Legos. And we walked around and around and around the Lego store and walked around and around. But we never could find the right Legos until we found this classic kit. And it had all these pictures on the side of the Legos, or the box. My heart started beating. My heart started beating because I'm like, whoa. He's going to ask me to create these things with him. He's going to ask me to make these things. And what if I don't know how to do it? He's going to think that, well, dad doesn't know how to do things, or mom doesn't know how to do things. But the one thing I do know how to do is I know how to follow directions. I know how to organize. So as we opened up the Lego box, they had the little pamphlet there. And they had step 1, step 2, step 3. They had all the steps that you had to do. And then they had these little different pieces. They have all these different pieces in different bags. And I told my son, you have to organize your bags so that you're not all over the place. You're not looking for part after part. I said, remember we went in part of the Legoland park, and they had this little display of how the people were building the Legos, how they had them organized. They didn't just have them thrown all over the place. They had them organized. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do the same thing. So I said, okay, what do you want to do first? He said, I want to build this car. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And that's that negative part that I don't have the talent. I said, take a deep breath. If he believes that you can do it, you probably can do it. So let's stop hiding and acting like we can't do it. So we had a system in place. I would find the parts. I would show him this is step 1. He would put the parts together. I'd find some more parts, give them to him. Before you know it, he had the car put apart. So then my wife saw that we were successful in that first little figure. And I was like, whew, we're done for the day. Good. But it was my niece's birthday. It's my niece's birthday. And my wife said, why don't you guys make this cupcake for her? A Lego cupcake for her. So then my wife sat down and she started making the cupcake. And she's like, wow, this is fun. This is interesting. She did step 1, step 2, and we put the Legos together. And we started thinking, wow, we were intimidated first, but now we realize, we can do this. But you got to have a system in place. You got to believe in yourself. Like my son believed in his mom and dad can build the Legos. But even though mom and dad were like, we haven't built Legos in a long time. And a lot of stuff that we build is really not that great. But we're good people that know how to follow directions. So when you can follow directions, it's pretty simple. So the things that you're struggling with, there's so many resources out there to show you step by step how to solve that problem. But you got to be smart about it. You got to be really smart about it. And that's the key, is being smart and having a plan of attack. You got to have your plan of attack and you'll be fine. Well, thank you once again for joining us on the Pear Fair, and hopefully you enjoyed our story about the camel and his little child. As we go out today and as you are looking for new things to accomplish this week or today or tomorrow, just remember, if you don't believe in yourself, 100 people could tell you that you have that much talent, but if you don't believe in it, it's never going to happen. Okay, well, we'll see you on the next one and have a great day. Thanks again for coming by, and bye-bye.